door's open.
What's that?
Sounds like a car door opening.
Yeah.
Like a car door's open.
Outside?
Like an old Buick. No, that you hear that ding?
Oh.
Ding.
On the what, on the
ding,
song?
Ding. Ding. You don't hear that?
What, like they left the driver door open with the keys in the ignition?
Yeah, like in an old Buick.
Why's it got to be a Buick? What about
That takes me back to my grandmother had an old Buick.
like an old white Palace?
I hear that sound in my brain.
Yeah. Big plush seats.
Who's this?
This is well, this is an unknown band. This is a non-copyright song, so we can't get hit with a music license.
But who is it?
The name is Navia, I don't know. Neovi.
Oh, it's Twitch stream music.
Yes. This is all Twitch stream music, so it's all like right here, even in the description of that video, the NCS, it's no copyright sounds. So literally we can't get hit with a copyright. Like last week, which we're going to talk about. That's right, Bobby K. The White Palace, baby. That's the first thing I think of if I like when Nick brings up like an old Buick, and anytime I see like a Buick or a Cadillac from the 80s or like early 90s, the big boat like squares, I just think of the White Palace.
What's the White Palace?
What's the White Palace? All right, well, actually, let's do White Palace talk even before we start the podcast then. So the White Palace, buddy of ours from high school, Joseph Connor, his mother drove like an old white, and I want to say it was like a Buick. I don't actually know what make and model of the car it was, but it was white and it had the old white cloth top as the back,
yeah.
right? Like the back half. And our buddy Noof used to call it the White Palace. So every time she'd be driving around, we'd be like, "Oh, there goes the White Palace."
Wow.
And then that became the name, the White Palace.
Dude, like throughout the years, my grandparents, they only owned Buicks.
Yeah.
Buick was the go-to.
Buick was great, dude. In the 80s,
it was solid.
It was my grandma had a Cadillac, like an 80s Cadillac, a big old brown one thing. Dude, literally it was like a mini limo.
Yeah.
Big plush seats, detached, solid steel bumpers, right? Like you could run into anything you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wonder what it is. Like, do they make cars anymore?
Buick? Yeah. Well, have you seen? Well, yeah, because Matthew McConaughey just out there driving a Buick somewhere.
No, he drives Lincolns.
Oh, that's right. He's Lincoln.
Not because they're cool.
Because I like them.
Because he likes them.
I like them. Yeah. Buick has a whole new like campaign. Like, oh, that's a Buick. Oh my God, that's a Buick.
Oh yeah, but those are like they're little now.
Yeah, they got like their smaller crossover deals going on and whatnot.
It's not your father's Buick.
It's not your father's Buick. That's right. Everybody's surprised. Like, who's that? Your Buick? What is up, everybody? Welcome back. New From the Hill podcast. Swag's here with the prof.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday, hun. This is a huge show. Huge show. Anybody that has followed FTH over our past year and a half of existence knows that we love talking the college football playoff. It is one of our most highly talked about, anticipated, etc. topics we talk about every year. This week, the final rankings were released, and we talked about it last week. We're going to do a full breakdown, and we're going to play through all the scenarios. What if we did 12 teams? What if we did 8 teams? What if we did 16, right? So we're going to have a lot of fun today with that. Before we get into that, we've got some NFL to talk. And even before we get into that, I just want to give everybody a reminder, if you don't already, if you're on the live stream, please go ahead and hit that share button. Drop us a like. It really helps us. All of our shows will be replayed on YouTube and the iTunes podcast application. If you don't already, please stop by, search from_the_hill. Click the like, click the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you guys anything. Really helps us out. A couple things from last week's pod that we wanted to discuss. So huge shout out again to Brian Pants for doing the awesome video cut of last week's pod. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, that's on our YouTube channel. He's inspired us to now strive for better video quality on both our live stream and others. So we're looking into how we can set that up. But again, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. Nick, were you impressed with that video? Because I was.
Yeah, it was awesome. Got a couple different angles of myself.
Yeah.
Which the podcast is needed for a while now.
Yeah, we've been looking to do.
There was a bit of art to it.
Yeah, it was great. We've been looking to do a video upgrade for a while, and Brian coming to me and offering to do that was huge, and like I said, really inspired us to try and get our video up to the next level. So that's going to be one of the.
So another one of the goals that we have now is to eventually get like clips on Instagram and so it's not just a live feed from Facebook. So we can have some other platforms that you can just check out little clips and stuff like that.
100%, 100% agree.
And grow the brand.
Give Nick a little slurp there. I know he loves the slurp.
Yeah, dude. Every pod,
I gotta give him a slurp. So before we got into the college, like I said, want to do some NFL talk. Obviously, we had another full week slate of games. The Ravens played on Thursday night and just crushed whatever dumpster fire they played. I think it was the Jets, right?
Yeah, like really upsetting to me. I wasn't strictly tuned into that game, and I know nobody cares about this, but I'm playing Lamar Jackson in fantasy football semifinals this week.
He had a big week.
So my hope was that I would turn the TV on and he would be really struggling, and he certainly did not. And I'm pretty much buried.
You're sunk. Yeah. How many points you put up? Like
47.
40? Oh my God.
Dude, 47 points.
It's
buried.
Semifinals, right?
Yeah, semifinals. Yep. Nobody cares about your fantasy football team.
No one cares about your fantasy football team except for you. And everybody out there wants to tell like all their fantasy football stories. Nobody cares. But we care about Knicks, obviously. That's it.
Oh, look at my team. Like, who cares?
Bro, I'm winning 2 of my leagues right now.
Yeah, I'm in 6 leagues.
Yeah, I'm in 85 leagues.
Who cares?
No one cares.
All right.
I had a couple observations from last week that I wanted to throw out to the prof, sort of like the Stugatz, like weekend observation. So first one I got. If Jimmy Graps plays as well as he did last week, the 49ers are the best team in the NFL.
Second.
You think the Ravens are the best?
Mm-hmm. I do. I do because I think there's something going on there, man. It's like it's some kind of magic, and you can tell that everybody on that team is buying into Lamar and they support him and they love him.
I'll tell you what.
It's something like, you kind of have that feel in San Fran where something special is happening, but I think it's just a next level in Baltimore right now.
I agree, because if you look at it, like Mark Ingram was doing the promo cuts where he was all excited right about Lamar. They've definitely rallied around him. But one thing that I think is important to look at with both of those teams, they're both extremely well coached, right? We start in San Fran with Shanahan, who you've talked about at length. I know you're a huge fan of what he does as a coach.
Everywhere he goes, he finds success, and it doesn't matter what quarterback he's got. He's just done it for a couple different teams now. I mean, it's been 3 teams, just from his last stop.
Absolutely. I mean, everywhere he goes, he's had success. And, of course, the Ravens have had now longtime head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach John Harbaugh, from the Andy Reid tree, formerly here with us in Philadelphia. And I mean, you don't even need to say how good of a coach he is. It's just well known, right? I mean, he's consistently a top 5 coach in the league. Believing in Lamar, right? Giving Lamar the keys to the castle. So a couple comments come in, Bob. I know it looks like I have a bomb hoodie on, right?
Dude, I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
and I looked
because the bomb that hangs from my microphone is covering up my Nike swoosh on my white hoodie, and it looks like it sinks in.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty cool looking.
Okay, so maybe a good idea.
Yeah. All right. So Chris is chiming in. Don't forget about Big Red and the Chefs. All right. So on the other side, we talked about this a little bit last week, but when you look at best teams in the AFC, I mean, really, there's a game I want to talk about today that involves top teams in the AFC. I want to run it by the prof, but you've got up at the top of the AFC, you've got the Ravens, the Patriots, and the Chiefs. For me, I would put the Patriots at 3rd, and I put the Chiefs at 2, right behind the Ravens.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah,
I certainly would. And that's from the inefficiencies on the offensive side of the ball for the Patriots, and then the opposite of that for the Chiefs. I mean, I think with the 2 teams that we just talked about, Baltimore and San Francisco, the defense is really the difference.
Yes.
I mean, they have it. They can do it on both sides of the ball. And,
100%.
I think that's where the Chiefs are lacking that.
Yes, and the Chiefs, that's the problem with the Chiefs every year, it seems, right? And the other thing is, you have to remember this. As much as you want to say that the Ravens and the Chiefs are better than the Patriots, I mean, I feel like every year the Chiefs beat the Patriots in a regular season but are now losing to them in the playoffs, right? And so, I mean, do you really – I want to say the Ravens are better, but if it comes down to an AFC championship game, even if it's in Baltimore, New England, Baltimore, who do you trust more? I mean, obviously you would lean on the Patriots, right? The experience, and until they lose in the playoffs, you got to give the Patriots the benefit of the doubt.
I don't know if that's true this year. I think we're seeing a different Tom Brady than we've seen in years past. And I know every year this topic comes up, is he done? Is he done? Is he done? But, it was always the case where he was getting stuff done with, quote unquote, a lack of talent around him. Yes. And it really, it never mattered. This year, it looks like it's mattering a lot more. And now all the Patriots fans, all you hear from them, well, he doesn't have anybody around him. Well, he hasn't for 20 years now.
Right.
And I think we're just seeing a gradual decline in his play. I mean, he just doesn't look as sharp as he used to.
I would agree.
Would I doubt him in the playoffs? Like, I don't know. It's a tough thing to do, but
I think what's been an understatement for the Patriots offense this year is there's one big piece they lost that they are really missing. Gronk. No Gronk. We talked about
Now Gronk has been out before.
He's been hurt before, but
yeah.
but when there's always been the threat of Gronk, right? And he played last season in the playoffs. And when you just have Gronk, even if 60% Gronk you have to worry about, look at what he does to the rest of the field, because he literally makes your defense focus so much on the middle of the field, because if you don't double him or try and deal with him, he's going to destroy you. I mean, the guy, I think, for my money, I think he was the best tight end ever. I don't know how you feel about that.
But yeah, I mean, obviously Gonzalez is up there, and there's probably a couple others we can throw in there. I didn't do my tight end research.
Yeah,
today,
me either. But just off the top of your head, like, you're going to put Gronk in your top 3. I mean, probably, and easily, I think, best offensive threats ever. So without him out there, New England is really struggling offensively, and that's not a surprise. Now, their defense has been playing much better than it has in years past, and that's typically a staple of the Belichick teams. And the weird sort of arc that the Patriots go on is they went from being a defense-first team where Brady was a game manager to then the other way, to where they had Moss and they're putting up 50 touchdowns a year, and then the defense wasn't very good, and now they're going back up to where Brady's more of a game manager and then going back up. And
I'm not going to call him a game manager. Here's the thing about the Patriots, though. So if you look at their schedule, I'm a big schedule person. That's how I kind of judge these teams. Well, they don't play a whole lot of good teams. I mean, and the teams they have played that are good, they've lost to.
Okay. So, I mean, they have had a weak schedule this year. There's no question about it.
It's a weak schedule every year.
Yeah, because of the division that they're in.
It is.
But then again, look at the results. If you win your division, right? We talked about this 2 years ago with the Eagles, when the Eagles got off to their hot start and everybody's complaining they didn't play anybody. If you win your division and you get in the playoffs, what ended up happening? The Eagles ended up winning the Super Bowl, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl last year, and they've won 6, right? Like, if you take care of business, win your division, and get into the playoffs, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to get to that point in the season when you're not taxing yourself tremendously throughout the schedule. You know what I mean?
Okay, so now that you brought that up, I want to switch to a game that I want to talk about, because it's important on that level, because there's a division I think is worse. But a couple comments came in. Chris said, "Ditch the Nike." Just say no. We don't like Nike. And then, all right, here's one real quick. Justin says, Jason Witten top 5. Is Jason Witten a top 5 tight end of all time?
Again, I'd have to go back through the.
We'd have to look at numbers. Off the top of my head, I'm gonna say probably not.
No,
he might be close.
One of the things about
6, 7.
That's been a position that over the years has really transformed into something different than what it used to be.
Yes, 20 years ago, you literally put your hand in the dirt and blocked 85% of the time, right? Like a tight end. And then maybe
I just don't. I don't
passes.
know. I don't know enough about the history of the tight end to say Jason Witten's a top 5. Now, offensively, yeah, sure. I guess you have to put him up there, right?
I'm sure. I mean, his numbers wise, he's probably in the top 5 in receptions and yards and all those good stats. I mean, dude, the irony of him. We talked about this last year when he retired, and then he comes back this year. Man, when he catches the ball, he has like negative yak. That dude cannot move. He's so slow.
Well, he's an old man.
He looks like he's moving in slow motion now when he catches the ball.
He's an old man.
I'll tell you one thing though, he was an Eagle killer in his days.
Always.
He used to destroy the Eagles. So I'm not saying that Justin to disrespect Jason Witten, as in he may not be a top 5. I'd have to look at the numbers, but
his hair's gone too now.
That happens.
Yeah, when he was yelling on the sideline last week.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, his hair's gone.
His hair's gone.
Looks a little bit different than he did in the booth there. Dude, what a terrible booth that is. Oh my God. Every time Booger says something, I'm like, no, that's not.
I know. The thing is though, I like Booger. Like, I liked Booger on other shows, right? So, but him in the Monday night booth is not a good look.
He's like,
not a good look.
He's calling things out and trying to make points, and then they'll go back to a replay, and he's completely wrong. Like, the thing that he's explaining didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. And the things that he says about like teams and things, guys that he talked to, I want to be like, you didn't talk to him, or what you're telling me. That doesn't sound true. I don't think you said that. Okay, Chris and Bob are.
I was going to mention Antonio Gates, definitely up there, right?
Yeah, Kellen. You're talking about Kellen Winslow Sr., right, Chris? Yeah.
We don't want to talk about the other one.
No, Kellen Winslow Sr., Tony G. Yeah, I mean, I would put all of them ahead of Jason Witten, right? Antonio Gates is, yeah. Okay. Tight end talk.
Yeah. So let's bring it back to the Patriots real quick. So there's a lot of talk this week on all the crap shows in the morning on ESPN and FS1 and all that stuff. So they've been putting Tom Brady in different uniforms. So do you see him moving on and going somewhere else next year?
Yikes. No, I don't. I don't see why. First off, I don't, because with Belichick losing Jimmy Graps, right, with the Robert Kraft and the whole thing, he doesn't have an heir apparent waiting. And I mean, look, if the Patriots go 12-4 this year and win the East, what's the need to make a change at quarterback? And Tom has nothing to prove. So, like, there's no reason for him to leave New England and go start over. He's going to play at least one more season there because they're going to go 12-4 this year and win the division and maybe get a first-round bye or win a home playoff game. So, like, it's always a success.
Well, I think it's going to come down to what they do in the playoffs.
Exactly.
But I don't ever see Kraft moving on because they're like father and son.
Exactly.
Much, right?
And why would you at this point?
Well,
right? I mean, Brady has earned the right, in my opinion. If they go 12-4 this year and lose to the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, is that really a failure of a season?
No, but
you know what I mean.
But if they go out in the first round, maybe it is.
Could be.
And they're going to start looking at almost a rebuild.
Well, the thing is, if you look at the team, and you brought it up earlier,
like it's really terrible that we're talking about like literally like what's the record, 10-3 or something like that. We're talking about a rebuild, but still, I mean, you kind of do see the light at the end of the tunnel, do you not?
I kind of don't. I'll be honest with you, because I just think that they need to reload with some weapons. Like, I don't necessarily think they need to move on from Tom, but they just got to get another weapon in there. They lost Gronk, who was their best weapon. They still have Edelman. He's over 1,000 yards. He's a great slot possession receiver. They just need another weapon. They need to go get a weapon.
Well, dude, so like you say that, but then they release weapons throughout all year. They just release weapons. They release Josh Gordon. They release Antonio. Now, Antonio Brown. Oh, my God, this guy on Twitter.
I mean, yikes.
You follow him?
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah, of course.
I don't even know what he's saying.
Dude, he's out of his mind. Guy's out of his mind.
I know, but you know what? Watching that Giants-Eagles game, I'm sitting there thinking, just pick him up. Like, what do you have to lose at this point?
So, yet you're a good straight man, because one of my observations from last week is that Michael Thomas is the best receiver in the NFL. Don't at me. Who you got better? I think Michael Thomas.
DeAndre Hopkins is pretty
currently
good receiver.
DeAndre Hopkins is great right now. All things equal, and you know how big of a Julio Jones fan I am. I think Michael Thomas is the best receiver in the NFL.
You can't really debate it at this point.
Yeah.
He leads the league in receptions and yards
and has
all that
set
stuff.
records his first 5 years.
I don't think you're going to get anybody to fight you. I
No.
mean, DeAndre Hopkins is up there, but
Hopkins is great. Julio's great, although he's been hurt a lot. But for me, I'm taking Michael Thomas.
Are you buying the narrative that Odell is trying to force their hand to get out?
Yeah, I am. I am. Yeah, I mean, listen. A lot of things would say, well, first off, the Browns are a complete disaster, as predicted by Swags. I know everybody was picking them to win the NFC North or AFC North and make the playoffs. I said that team wasn't going to be any good because of the Browns will never be good. And Baker Mayfield stinks.
I don't know if he stinks. I don't think he stinks, man. I really think it's part of that system where I don't think Freddie Kitchens is the guy. I mean, do you think he keeps his job? If they beat the Ravens, does he keep his job? They already beat him once.
What's the bet? Well, here's the thing. What's the benchmark for the Browns this year? They're not going to make the playoffs now, right? They can't make the playoffs now. At least I think they have a really
I don't know what the
outside shot to make the playoffs. If they go 7-9 or 8-8, it's a huge letdown versus what we expected from that team, right?
Yeah, but that was overhyped at the beginning of the season. Like last year, they would go 6-10 last year.
They went 6-10, but I mean, and so they're on the uptick. They've got Baker, who's supposed to be a young stud. They go bring in two standout wide receivers, one superstar, right? And they stink. I think with Odell, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a good scenario for him there because he's got his buddy Jarvis Landry there, best friends, played together in college. But at the same time, Cleveland's not a city that he's going to want to stay in. He hasn't had a good season stat-wise.
They're 6-7 right now.
What counts for him.
They're 6-7 right now. If they win 2 more games, I mean that's a come up from last year. It is. I mean, I'm not ready to just say that they're done. I'm not ready to say Baker's a bust at this moment.
Okay, I know, but you're a Baker fan.
Like, I actually think that they would be a lot better off without him.
Without Baker?
No, without Odell.
Without Odell?
I think they would. I think he's a distraction. I think he puts pressure on Baker.
He hasn't. All right, but you say that, but has he been disruptive this year?
Yeah, he has. I don't know if you saw the video clip on Twitter of him. They're all in the huddle. Everybody's in the huddle, getting ready for the play. He's out, standing in line. He's on the line of scrimmage, away from the huddle. He's not in the huddle.
Okay.
Like,
so dude, he's showing his frustration.
What are you doing?
Here's the thing.
What are you doing? You're obviously not getting the ball.
Is Odell's behavior like that any different than other big receivers when they're not getting the ball? Circa Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh fighting with Big Ben, right? Like, you see that a lot.
See, at the beginning of his career, I don't remember Antonio Brown being like that.
Well, he couldn't be because the beginning of his career was a nobody.
No, but he was a stud.
But once he established himself as a stud in the league,
I mean, I really
and got the clout.
I don't remember him being a distraction until like a couple years, maybe like 2 years
Once
ago.
he got the clout, then
But
he
he's
was.
been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember him being just coming out of nowhere, and I don't remember him being a big distraction when they were winning up until a few years ago.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, Pittsburgh is sitting at like the 6th seed in the AFC playoff race, which is pretty impressive given they've been playing with their third-string quarterback.
I hate watching them.
It's gross.
I hate watching their games.
It's gross, but dude, they're playing with a third-string quarterback.
I get it.
I mean, they're hanging in there. So a ton of comments came in. I want to get out real quick. Chris says, "You're right." So in terms of the receiver talk, DeAndre Hopkins has done it with bad quarterbacks, JV quarterbacks for a long time until Deshaun Watson sort of established himself. And I'm a huge DeAndre Hopkins fan, 100%. Baker's better than my boy Johnny. First off, watch your mouth. Don't ever badmouth Johnny Manziel on my podcast. But the thing about Johnny, I mean, we could break down all of why Johnny wasn't successful in the league. I mean, one thing I could tell you is that Baker Mayfield has 100 times better weapons than Johnny Manziel ever had. And, that's not even a tenth of the issues with Johnny coming into the league. Chris chimed in, your division's weakness is not your team.
It's not your team's fault. I get it.
Yeah,
you play your schedule.
It's not.
It is what it is. But, you do have to compare teams to other division leaders.
And I think the good way to judge a division, right, is chop off your top team and chop off your bottom team and look at your teams in the middle, right? And that's going to tell you the strength of your division. So there's a game this week I wanted to bring up to Prof. I teased it when we first came on. The Texans at the Titans. Both teams 8-5. Titans -3. Does it surprise you that the Titans are favored in this game, Prof? You're a Titans hater. A couple weeks ago, you mentioned the Titans are mediocre, and I said the Titans are actually pretty good.
Well, they were mediocre until Tannehill took over,
and now they're playing really well.
Yeah, they're playing really well. There was talk of Ryan Tannehill like kind of sneaking into MVP discussion, which is like unbelievable to me, and it really shows you that a quarterback can be a product of his environment.
And it's also a big
down in Miami. We saw kind of flashes of him being good here and there.
Oh, for sure. And it's also a huge indictment on Mariota, right? I mean, this has to spell the end of him in Tennessee for sure, with Tannehill having success now. Who you got in that game, Prof? Do you like the Texans on the road +3?
No.
You like the Titans?
I do.
God damn it. Why would you pick that side? That's my side. I can't believe you're –
I do.
I can't believe you're on the Titans.
The line moved, man. The line is it started up at 1.5.
Yeah, and it's all the way up to 3 now.
3 at this point. Which is a typical –
It's a home game.
Yeah, it's a typical
home game spread.
Home game spread.
Same record, 8-5 for AFC
so yeah, I think,
South supremacy.
I think I like Tennessee. I don't like saying that. But every time I like Tennessee, they lose, so don't worry about it.
I know. I don't like that you did that. I was hoping you were going to take the Texans because you're a Houston guy. You're a Watson guy. Damn it. Prof, you're surprising me here with that game.
Couple underdogs to like today.
Who you got?
Chicago.
The Bears?
Starts at 7,
Bears?
down to 4.5.
Is that in Green Bay?
It's in Green Bay. The second one I like. Denver.
Broncos, that's a big line. Chiefs, what is it, 9.5?
9.5.
In KC, though, yeah?
From 13. Yeah, I like Denver. I have to say I like it.
Okay. A lot of dogs here. You got another one?
No, that's all I got for the dogs.
Okay. So, real quick before we move on to the NCAA, because everybody is excited to get us talking to college football, we have to mention the Eagles last week, man. It took them overtime to beat the Giants.
Yeah.
Bro.
Eli Swan song.
By the way, he didn't play well.
No, he never does.
Yeah, he didn't play well. Everybody was like, oh, Eli's back because he threw like a couple jump balls. Guess what? Ryan Fitzpatrick threw a bunch of jump balls the week before, so anybody can throw jump balls against the Eagles secondary, which we talked about last week. But the Eagles eke out a win against the Giants, so they pull themselves to a tie with the Cowboys for the division. But, man, did they look bad. And the word of the week for me with the Eagles was just mediocre. The team is just completely mediocre.
Jack, they had one wide receiver.
I'm aware.
One.
I'm aware. I picked up, speaking of fantasy, because I had Alshon Jeffrey. He's IR. And I had Nelson Aguilar earlier.
Pick up Josh McCown.
I picked up Greg Ward Jr.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, I understand that the receiving core is decimated.
they're going to put Josh McCown at wide receiver.
I understand that we have the worst secondary in the league. The team is mediocre. The team is completely mediocre. And it's a huge disappointment because I feel like myself, this city, had big expectations for this team. And I'm not one of these guys who says, all right, just lose and don't make the playoffs. I want to make the playoffs. You want to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, you really need to get in.
I want to make the playoffs, so I'm not going on that route, but I don't have any inclination that this team can compete with the Niners, the Saints, or any of the top teams in the NFC, the Seahawks. They're not there. They're just not there.
No, they're not. But the good news of all that is that the Cowboys are kind of doing the same thing where they don't want to win it either. And they look terrible.
And we talked about this last week. It feels like the Cowboys are sort of playing Garrett out of a job versus the Eagles, who obviously all love Dougie P. And it's more of a, I don't even know what, a personnel / injury / who knows issue with the Eagles right now. But their game today is an interesting one. They're playing the Redskins, and the Redskins are playing some inspired football the last couple of weeks. This is a really, really dangerous game for the Eagles.
It is.
Very dangerous game.
It's a dangerous game for the Eagles, but at the same time, when you look at you look across the division, you have the Cowboys playing the Rams as well, which is going to be a really tough game.
Yes, and the Rams are playing better too.
They've yet to beat a team with a winning record. And the Rams are 8-5. They're starting to look like they're getting their offense together. And I said it 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're slow playing Gurley.
Mm-hmm.
Now it looks like they were.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. As soon as we trash the Rams, they come out and they make us eat crow and start turning it up.
I said McVay's going to slow play Gurley to get him to the end of the season, and then they're going to ramp him up, and that's exactly what they're doing. But when we talked about them 2 weeks ago, they were terrible.
Yes, and the concern for the Rams is because they're probably in the best division in football. They've got Seattle and San Fran out there, and they need to kind of win out if they want to make the playoffs. 11-5 may be a wild card in the NFC. I know that's crazy to say, but because the 49ers, Seahawks, the Packers now, and the Vikings have such good records, like you may need outside of the NFC East division winner, you may need only like 5 or less losses to make the wild card, which is crazy. NFC stacked, man.
I might like the Chargers in that game against Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
In LA, down from 3 to 1.5.
Chargers stink.
Oh, maybe another dog.
Chargers.
Maybe I like another dog.
Chargers stink. All right, so let's move off of the NFL. Let's jump to college football. We're going to go through the final rankings. Before we do, to everybody's lack of surprise, Joe Burrows won the Heisman last week. We all knew that was coming, right?
No, last night.
Last night, sorry. By the way, they're actually showing it right now. He ended up breaking Troy Smith's record for the most highest percentage of votes to win. Like it was a landslide. Troy Smith, you remember that name?
Oh, boy.
What's up, Tate?
Hold on. Let me think of it. Troy Smith.
I
don't remember, man.
Quarterback from?
Virginia Tech?
Ohio State.
Oh, God. I was way off.
It was like 2001.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm 99.99999% sure.
All right.
Yep.
I was off on that one. My bad.
So apparently he had the highest percentage of vote gets before that, and then now Burrow had it.
Does that matter to you?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of knew he's been hands down the best player in college football, or the best quarterback in college football this year on the best team. That's typically how this vote goes.
If you bet on that preseason, you made some bread.
Sure.
Because he was like really they weren't sure what he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You remember last year he was kind of like not a game manager, but he wasn't a Heisman winner.
Wasn't even close to what he is now. I mean, you're right. You probably could have got that 25-50 to 1 somewhere between there. Yeah, no doubt.
But I mean,
who's got the foresight for that?
He's really stepped it up. Now, what do you think of his prospects in the NFL?
I think he certainly has a decently strong, or what appears to be strong enough arm. He's athletic enough to move around a little bit outside the pocket. I mean, he's definitely an NFL prospect, right? He certainly looks to be an NFL prospect.
Does he go to Cincinnati?
They're probably going to have a top pick, right? And they're looking for a quarterback.
It's going to be between Chase Young and him, I would think, right?
Probably, yeah. Because unless they take Tua and just decide we'll let him develop and heal.
I think there's some decent quarterbacks. Herbert's going to come out, right?
Yeah, Abear's going to come out. Is it Herbert or Abear?
Serious?
Well, if your name is spelled like that and you're from Louisiana, it's Abear. Remember Bobby Abear?
No.
You don't remember that name?
No.
Who in chat remembers the name Bobby Hebert, NFL quarterback?
No.
It spelled his name the same, Herbert, but if you're from the South, it has that French accent on it. Hebert.
Well, Burrow's the South guy.
Yeah.
Herbert's up in Oregon.
Yeah. So that actually is a good topic for another show when we start to break down draft prospects, but that is a good question. I think Burrow has, a good NFL prospect within him. He's got a lot of requisite skills. He's a big kid, good size, good arm, good athleticism.
Yeah. Sucks he's going to go to the Bengals, though.
Probably. Okay.
Sorry, Joe.
So the final rankings are out for the college football playoff system. I've got them here. Here's what your Final Four playoffs are going to be. LSU made number 1, 13-0, the SEC champions. They will be playing number 4 ranked Oklahoma, 12-1, Big 12 champs, as predicted by the prof on the last show, sort of by me too. We said if LSU beat Georgia, they would fall out, and then the winner of the Oklahoma-Baylor game would jump in. Unfortunately, I was pulling for Baylor.
You were a huge Baylor guy.
They almost got it.
I was pulling for them, too.
They almost got it. That was the best game of the day, as I said it would be. Went to overtime.
What else did the prof predict that day? Let's go back 1 week. Prof said Wisconsin covers.
Wisconsin did cover. Wisconsin. You thought at halftime, though, you thought they had a chance outright, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, they were looking good.
And by the way, Ohio State stomped them in the second half. Ohio State came out and said, all right, enough playing around, and completely stomped them. But Wisconsin did cover. Good call by prof.
So that would have made life really interesting.
That would have made life very interesting. So speaking of Ohio State, they sit at number 2, 13-0, Big Ten champs. They will play Clemson, 13-0, ACC champs. Of course, Clemson dominated Virginia. Literally, they ran through their entire schedule. So I think the top 4 is correct. I think they got it right, as typically seems to work out. Now, here's where the interesting part starts. If we start to move down here, we'll start with the top 8. Number 5 is Georgia at 11-2, obviously the SEC runner-up. Number 6 is Oregon, the Pac-12 champs. Pause here. We've talked about how down we are on the Pac-12, Prof. Is it more or less of a statement by the committee that they let the SEC runner-up get ranked ahead of the Pac-12 champion?
I would have had it the same way.
Me too. I think
definitely would have had it
Georgia,
the same way.
Oregon and Georgia are both 11-2, and I think Georgia's the better team.
Oregon's losses were Auburn, and who else did they lose to?
Probably some Pac-12 shitter, I would think, right?
I'll find it here. But
yeah.
So basically your question was
the statement of more of an indictment on the Pac-12, right? Like, because their winner is getting ranked below the SEC runner-up.
Yeah. They lost to Arizona State. I remember that game. Yeah, I mean, I would have had it the same way. The Pac-12, again, you got to go back to schedule. I think Oregon has a pretty tough schedule here, but you're comparing it to an SEC schedule, which is just like
incomparable. By the way,
it's this times 2.
Arizona State, Coach Herm out there.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
that was a fun game.
Okay, so number 7 is Baylor, Matt Rule, 11-2, Big 12 runner-up, and then number 8. Interesting here to see them here. Maybe not. Wisconsin, 10-3, Big 10 runner-up, sitting at 8.
See, I'd probably have Florida ahead of them.
Well, that's where I was going to
probably have Penn State ahead of them.
Florida is 9.
How can you have Wisconsin ahead of Penn State with 2 losses? How'd they get that extra game? Oh, I guess the conference championship.
Championship.
Yeah,
that's why Wisconsin is there, because they made the conference championship.
This is why I'm annoyed by college football. This is why it's annoying.
And let's look at that. That's a good. So the 8, 9, 10 is an interesting conversation, especially because if we expand the playoff to what I think would be acceptable, would be 8. Wisconsin would play LSU now, but for me, I think that Florida or even maybe Penn State are more deserving, because I think they're both better teams than Wisconsin. Wisconsin playing on the weak side of the Big Ten, only really having to play one real team all year, which is Minnesota, right? Like, they get to play a weakened schedule on that side of the Big Ten, and then they make it to the conference championship pretty much every year, because as long as they beat Minnesota or whoever's the good team over there, they're going to make it. To me, the schedule Penn State plays and the schedule Florida plays to go 10-2, the same record before the conference championship, for me, those teams are better.
See, all this doesn't matter. All this doesn't matter anymore.
No, it's all hypothetical.
But so I think that if it did matter, these rankings would be different.
You think so?
I absolutely think so. I think if this mattered and they actually had a seeded tournament, I don't think Alabama's 13. Do you?
Yeah, I do, because they don't have a quarterback right now. Remember what they take into account every week is how you're going to perform now next week also too, right? Like they take everything into account. Alabama to me is at 13 because they don't have a quarterback. I mean, they got destroyed and they don't have a quarterback.
I mean, there's a lot of teams down there that they'll get beat by Alabama. You think Utah is going to be ahead of Alabama, and if you're seeding a tournament? I don't see it.
Well, no,
and so
no, I don't.
It's easy for them to do rankings when this doesn't mean anything anymore.
That's true. It is much easier for them to do rankings when everything outside of the top 4 doesn't matter.
So the point being, why don't you just do it on the field and let the results be the results?
So here you go. So then this goes to your point. You're for 16, right? You'd like to see 16. You want a 16-team tournament?
I want as many as possible.
Okay. Number 17 is Memphis right now. If you took by the top 16 that they gave us, there wouldn't be there's only SEC, one ACC, and then Big 12 and Big 10 teams. There would be no other team in the tournament.
So what?
Memphis at 12-1 is not better than Iowa at 9-3.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, like I said, I think that these rankings change if it means something. So, I mean, I don't know what their schedule is. I don't know who they've beaten. I don't know any of that stuff. I'd have to take a look at that. But honestly, why can't Iowa knock off Florida, Penn State, Wisconsin?
Well,
like why can't we just see that happen?
Well, here's the deal.
Okay, yeah, they would have to play
LSU and they would get curb stomped.
Okay, but that's okay.
Thanks for showing up.
Well, what are we worried about LSU playing? Who'd they play the last week before the conference championship? They played I'm trying to find the schedule here. Utah State, 42-6. Like, they played Vanderbilt. They stomped them. They played Northwest State. Who is that? I don't even know who that is. Northwestern State Demons, 65-14. Like, what's the difference? What's the difference?
You got to take. Yeah, I mean, we talked this. You got to take a couple of those games away.
What's the difference if it's a playoff game?
You got to take a couple of those games away from those schools if you want to do playoffs. And then, I mean, damn, dude, like, you're literally going to kill Northwestern State's athletic program because they don't get to play LSU. No money.
I don't care.
I know you don't. The problem is it's just never going to happen. They're never going to take those games off the schedule. So it's a fun game that we always play. For me, if I looked at the top 8, the Wisconsin argument aside, I would actually enjoy an 8-team playoff this year, I think. Even if I left Wisconsin in the top 8.
I think we would all enjoy it more. I think it would be more of an event, to have the actual tournament. I mean, this is how every league does it. This is how every league does it, except for
even if we went
Division I football.
Even if we went 6.
Doesn't matter.
And give LSU and Ohio State buys. I'd be good with that too.
Sure.
I'd be good with that too. Because I think the top 6, it's all the conference champs and then Georgia as the SEC runner-up, who's the best team that lost their conference championship game. I'm okay with that.
Doesn't it make sense to just include all the conference champs?
Yes.
Instead of having this debate of the Pac-12 sucks, the Big 12 sucks, it's only SEC.
Yeah, give them a shot, right?
Like, why?
Give them a shot to play it out.
Yeah, why not just stop that?
If you took the top 6 now,
it's literally an extra game.
Right, include Georgia and Oregon, give LSU and Ohio State buys, like the NFL playoff system. 1 and 2 get buys. Clemson would play Oregon, and Oklahoma would play Georgia. I mean, I think that's great. Those are games we want to see. We had the argument last week, who's the better team, Oklahoma or Georgia? If Georgia lost and Oklahoma won, we said that Oklahoma would get in the playoffs, but I'd love to see them play because I think Georgia may be able to take them out.
All right, so if you're playing devil's advocate, what is the downfall of doing it?
There's none for 6. I think the problem that we always have when we have the conversation of expanding the playoff system is if you get to 8, then you're forcing every team to play, and you're going to have a full extra game. And if you go further than 8, like to 12 or 16, now you're talking about like 3 or 4 extra games. And it's just then you're almost playing an NFL schedule now.
Jack, they're not going to play for a month.
I know. I'm not saying they don't have the time. I'm just saying
there's a month of nothing right now.
I know. I'm just saying that here's the thing. What you're asking these kids to do, a lot of these kids who are now going to be pro prospects, right? Like, watch how they're dropping out of the bowl games that don't matter, right? Aside of these top 4 teams, here's another reason Alabama's ranked 13, because Alabama's going to get put in some bowl game, and half their roster is going to the NFL and isn't going to play because they're not going to risk getting hurt in the Tostitos Crunch Bowl because they're about to get drafted in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft to make millions of dollars.
I don't know if I get your point.
So do you think that if Alabama, if they expand to 16 and Alabama's sitting there at 13, you think all their guys are going to play?
Yeah.
They'd have to play like Clemson in the first. You think they're actually all going to play that?
Absolutely.
I don't know
if
that's
true. If you're in a playoff system, yeah, that game means something now. You can advance. You can move up. You can, like, it's not a bowl. It's not a meaningless bowl game. It's actually means something now. But I think
you think Alabama without a quarterback who would have to play like Clemson right now, they're going to get destroyed, and their kids are like, why am I going to risk going out here and getting hurt?
Hold on. They're going to get destroyed. They played a close game with LSU. I mean, LSU stomped them in the end of it. But, like, anybody can win.
Sure, anybody can win, but they don't have a quarterback. Dude, Tua's out.
You say that all the time. Like, when any of these kids get hurt, oh, the quarterback's out. Like, any Alabama prospect, they're all 5-star prospects.
But they're not Tua.
Who knows?
I mean, you're talking about like
who knows?
Look what happened to Baylor last week. Like when quarterbacks get knocked out, every once in a blue moon you have a situation like Jalen Hurts and Tua, where you can bring a backup in that is just as good or bring something different to the table. But look at what happened to Baylor last week. They were already playing with their backup, and they almost beat Oklahoma. Took them to overtime. So their backup gets knocked out, and their third string comes in.
So do you think
they're done?
Alabama's dynasty is done?
No, it's just this year. They're sunk. They're sunk this year.
I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You know, if you go into a tournament and you're playing, they could beat Clemson. I mean, we've talked about Clemson. Do we know what they are?
Yeah, I mean, they're still pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I know they are, but, so is Alabama.
I just think Alabama's season is over, and they're sunk.
Well, obviously now it is.
Well,
but
yeah, it is now.
There's no point anymore to play the Tostitos
Crunch
Bowl,
what I'm
like
saying.
you said. But what I'm saying is, if they actually had a tournament, you don't think that they would actually play all their guys?
I don't know if
and
they
guys
show
would be
up for
fired up to play in the tournament.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they show up for that. I don't know if they think they have a chance to win. And like the goal is to make it to the top 4, for the playoff. Just making the top 16 to get into a college football playoff system with 16 teams. I don't know. It just seems excessive to me. It seems like it's too much.
I don't know. I think of all the years, I think this is the year to do it. I mean, I think there's more chance for the teams down at the bottom this year than there has been in years past. Of all the times to argue it, I think this year makes the most sense.
I'm gonna rubber stamp this. Last year, I think I went with 8. I'll have to check the tape. This year, I'm rubber stamping 6. I would love 6. I don't think Baylor and Wisconsin need to be in it. Personally, Baylor's on their 3rd-string quarterback now, and Wisconsin I don't think is good enough. I'll take 6. I'll take the 5 conference champs, and I'll take Georgia, and let's have a tournament.
Like, what's the difference? What's the difference putting 2 other teams in it?
They don't deserve it. You denigrate. We say this all the time. You put 16 teams in. You put 8 teams in this year, like Baylor and Wisconsin. You denigrate the value of the regular season. Yeah.
The value of the regular season is BS, dude.
It's not BS.
It is, man.
Every college football game is so important. Every Saturday is so important. You're devaluing the regular season by giving all these teams a ticket to the final dance.
Yeah, but you're playing Northwestern State.
So
take those games away.
You've also played 9 SEC games.
Take those games away. Nobody wants to watch that.
You got to have them. It's part of the deal. It literally is part of the deal. It's part of the schedule. It's tradition.
I just think it's
the way it goes.
I think it's wrong. I think the system's wrong. I don't like it. It's not, dude, literally every single league does a playoff to determine the champion. Every single league. Why is this different?
The football, though, they have one now. Top 4.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I would like 6. With the system set up, I want 6. Give me the conference champs, and then you get 1 at large.
I don't care. I'm all for expanding it. If 6 is the best we can do to start, sure, let's do it.
I like 6. That's
official
stamp 6.
And then that way, over time, it's not just 2 schools getting all the prospects from high school. Everybody was going to Alabama. because they want to play in the championship game.
That's true. Interestingly enough, first year Alabama doesn't make the playoff.
LSU, they've finally taken that step this year.
Yep.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So over the next few years, let's see if they are the new dynasty. You're going to see LSU and Ohio State get all these prospects. Well, they always have anyway, but
yes,
I'm saying more so than Alabama. Just like open it up, like let some other teams play.
I mean, that part you do want to see more teams in there. It is. I mean, I know we have a lot of Alabama contingent around here, and I sort of half root for Alabama because I think it's fun. But it is nice to not see them up there. Literally, they were part of every college playoff football system since its inauguration 6 or 7 years ago. They've been there every year in the top 4, every single year.
I don't know if it's 6 or 7, but it's something close.
It's close at this point. Real close.
Open it up.
Open it up, he says. Do it. All right, so as we're getting out of here. Let's go back to now what we have. Who do you have, Prof? You got LSU, Oklahoma. You got Ohio State, Clemson. Who you got making the final game? You don't think Oklahoma can beat LSU, right?
I got LSU.
And he got Ohio State or Clemson. I mean, I know who you're taking.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I know who you're taking.
I got Clemson.
No,
I do.
Full of shit. You are full of shit.
LSU, Clemson.
No fucking way. That's my pick. You are an Ohio State guy.
Well, I usually am, but I'm telling you, man.
All right,
I think
then I'm taking Ohio State. Then I'm gonna wear the red.
all right,
Dude,
let me
your
see how
Ohio
this-
State fans are gonna be pissed at you.
It's okay. I'm not a fan.
Liar.
I'm a fan
You
of
are
them.
a fan.
To
You're an
cover.
Ohio State fan and supporter.
I'm telling you, I'm a Ohio State cover supporter.
Okay. I'm a bet on the Ohio State.
I want to
supporter.
see what if the
All
lines
right.
are out yet.
So if you have LSU winning it all, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll take Ohio State, LSU, and I'll take Ohio State to win it all. How about that?
I want to see if I can find these lines.
How about that?
-13 LSU.
Yeah, they're gonna kill Oklahoma.
Clemson's a favorite.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Defending champs.
Yeah, it's going.
Where's that game being played? Does it tell you?
No, I
I'll
don't
have to
see
look
it.
that up. We'll have to break those games down as we get closer. As Prof mentioned, we've got 3 weeks until these teams play, and we've already had a week past. Why are we waiting so long, Prof? Can't we play these games next week? Like, why are we waiting so long?
I don't know.
What's the deal?
It's another thing with college football that I don't understand.
I don't get it. What's the need for 3 weeks off here?
I don't know.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
I'll ask Coach T.
Yeah,
He'll tell me.
Coach T knows.
He'll tell me why.
Coach T knows the deal. Why the hell we're waiting all this time for those freaking bowl games and shit to go off. That's all I got, Prof. You got anything else?
Big President's Cup win. Just check it out.
Big President's Cup win. It was on last night. I really wasn't watching it that much.
Yeah.
Are you into the President's Cup?
No, I mean from afar. I did play some golf this week. I was in Florida.
That's right.
I went to the Drive Shack.
How was that?
Expensive.
I bet.
I cut my finger.
Yikes.
Mash and drives.
Nice.
Ripped right off my. Look at that, guys.
Prof and I played 2 years ago. We only played golf one time. That's kind of unbelievable at this point. We've only got
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It wasn't this season. It was last season.
Really?
Yeah. We didn't get out this last season.
We'll have to get out for 2020.
Yeah. We did have actually one thing that we have in the pipeline that we wanted to put together that I'm definitely going to get in for this year.
Look at that.
It's snowing in KC. That's awesome.
Wow.
We were going to do a From the Hill golf outing event, and we'll do some fun stuff like outdrive the hosts and shit like that, and we'll have some fun. Everybody was asking about it at a couple of venues. Show interest in having us do it there, so that's going to be something we're going to try and set up for early spring when the golf season comes back around.
Sounds good to me.
That's all I got.
All
Guys,
right.
Thanks everybody for popping in on the live feed. As I said at the beginning, please check us out on our platforms, YouTube, the iTunes podcast app. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button, hit the like button, share our videos. Helps us get the content out there. Doesn't cost you guys anything. Keep an eye out for our improved video and our Instagram account to show some activity.
We'll see. Got a lot of stuff going on.
That's it, everybody.
That's it.
We out of here.
Bears, Broncos. Do it.
Titans, baby. We both like the Titans. That's such a bad sign. All right, y'all. Peace.
See ya.